Hi there everybody, this is Gammy and welcome to another edition of The Dashing One. This is cool. It looks like back in the day they used to have this sign just to indicate, well, you know, the obvious. I don't think they use it anymore, but I do love that it's used to be like a neon. And yeah, you can tell that it has never been used whenever they stopped it, because that is just intensely dirty. I feel like in terms of just aesthetics, Van Dorn Street is quite underrated. Yeah, it's like far from Springfield, far from King Street, but it's quite beautiful. Not extremely beautiful. Like, I'm exaggerating a bit, but in terms of how beautiful the greenery is, how you can get a beautiful view of Alexandria, and also getting good films of the metro cars passing by, as well as the trains from behind me. It's really cool and beautiful. Even though it's like full of warehouses where we are, it's not like it's a Loudoun Gateway, for lack of a better term, where like nobody's here. It is busy here. It is always busy here, except for obviously the nighttime. But yeah, it's a very underrated station. I wish they had a connection further south, but that can be worried about at some different time. And speaking of how busy it is, and look at that bendy bus right there. Yeah, I was thinking about just crossing the road, but no, they don't even have a crosswalk. So at least, thankfully, there's an entrance on this side of the parking lot. It's quiet. Too quiet. Oh snap, we're gonna get on this bus. Alrighty. Alrighty, let's get into some basic facts on this route. This used to be a part of the AT8 route that went from Landmark to the Braddock Road Station using Duke Street. When the redesign began in September of 2021, this route added in the Van Dorn Street Station. As previously mentioned, this route does use Duke Street for the majority, and once it passes King Street, this route, along with Route 31 and the Gillick trolleys, becomes a part of the Old Town Circulator, which I'll explain in a different video for another day. This bus does run 7 days a week from Mondays through Fridays. Service goes from 5:17 a.m. to 1:08 a.m. eastbound, and 4:45 a.m. to 12:06 a.m. westbound. For both Saturday and Sunday, weekend service goes from 5:46 a.m. to 12:46 a.m. eastbound, and from 6:16 a.m. to 11:36 p.m. westbound. And yes, that does mean that the service westbound is significantly shorter than the eastbound service during the weekends. Now, what you're about to see shortly is us turning into Edsel Road. One thing that's very important is that sometimes the bus will start or terminate on this road, which you're about to see right now. So for eastbound, you may see the bus start on this road, and then for westbound services, it will terminate on this road, and that is just to help out with congestion during peak hours in the morning. Also, during the afternoon peak hours, eastbound services will start at the Landmark Transit Center, while westbound services will terminate at the Landmark Transit Center, though that is only for just a select amount of buses. Otherwise, it'll just terminate to its normal route in the Van Dorn Street station. Now let's take a look into ridership. In 2024, this bus boarded on average 83,900 riders per month. That's 2,797 riders per day, or 233 riders per hour if it was within a 12-hour window. And for the January and February ridership of this year, this route received 80,924 and 73,825 riders, which is a strong up compared to last year's January and February ridership of 70,700 and 71,900 riders. This makes Route 30 the second most used bus in the entire Dash system. So this gives me enough time to talk about the future of this route, because there's a lot of significant development going on. Where we are now is Landmark, which unfortunately will no longer be called that. It's going to be renamed West End, and it's expected to be a mixed-use area where you're going to see a lot of retail space, office buildings. Also in Nova, they will be relocating their hospital on Seminary Road to this location. So there's going to be a pretty significant boom once everything has been completed. The first buildings are expected to be completed sometime in the end of 2025. So as you can see, right now it's just a bunch of empty lots, but the buildings have been starting and slowly starting to come to fruition. Which hopefully, if this works out, which it is, maybe we could see finally Metro extending to this area and then finally Tannindale. Or maybe this will give enough reason to improve Duke Street and their transitway project, which in that very smooth transition that I'm making, let's talk about the Duke Street in Motion transitway. Now, I could say that Duke Street in Motion is one of the 5 major BRT projects that's currently being planned. However, as of this recording, that has been expanded to a whopping total of 28 future BRT projects that is going to be one of many future changes that is coming into the Northern Virginia region. Another one is the merging of the Northern Virginia transit systems, such as Dash, Q, Fairfax Connector, and Arlington Transit, ART. But I heard no mention of OmniRide and Loudoun County Transit, which that's going to be a video for another day. But let's go back to Duke Street. So, in its current form, the current plan for Duke Street is to build a transitway and to make it a BRT. In their latest meeting, they've opted to eliminate the 2-way bus lane proposal in exchange for a westbound only bus lane that's between the Taylor Run Parkways and Cambridge Road. So that would mean that the eastbound lanes get nothing, right? Well, they have this idea of creating a Q jump lane. So if you see my video of bus number 34, where we were turning into Potomac Yard Station in the most weirdest way possible, that is what they're going to be doing. They're going to be splintering off into an extra lane that's on the right, and they will use signal priority to pass through traffic. And that is if they are going to be implementing that, because I know from experience using the bus 35 route that they barely use that. This is not really a good idea. Like a single one-way bus lane, and then the eastbound lanes, they barely get anything. How does any of that work out? And especially you're dealing with not just a 30, you got the 29K, the 29N, the 28A also using the same road as well, leading into more congestion on the eastbound lanes. So nothing of significance have been made once it's been completed. And it's going to get worse once the West End mixed-use development is going to be completed and it booms that area. This is what I mean by compromising in the worst way possible in my Flash BRT video. We're going to be having a lot of traffic, and then not having these bus lanes to alleviate that traffic and, I don't know, just maybe like help people out with just the power of transit and how good it can be. It can be a lot better if they can improve on this, if they can scrap that one lane idea and then go back into a 2-lane idea. Because as of right now, it's just one step forward, yet another step back. But ranting aside, we are at the ever lovely Alexandria Union Station, meaning that we are super close to this King Street station, which I will be heading out of this bus shortly. But in conclusion, this is an extremely busy bus route, especially during the peak times. And the good news is that there will be more articulated buses coming to Dash, as they recently announced. Now, if they can get their Duke Street in Motion project situated in the best way possible without compromising in the worst way possible, there will definitely be a much brighter future for this bus. Well, that does it for this awesome video. Please be sure to leave a like, a comment, a subscription, and otherwise, y'all have a fantastic day.